I'm Brandon Bouldin, pastor of Zion Hill Baptist Church, but also have the privilege to be able to serve you all as one of your regional ministers. Just a little bit about my background for you to feel free to be able to ask me certain questions if you would want to. One, I have a pastoral background, so I have the theology, so I wrestle with some of the same things that you may wrestle with when it comes to the ethical things and the Bible-based things of when we that sometimes we feel that or the theological things that sometimes bump up against when we wrestle with AI. So I got a pastoral background. I have a financial background for almost 2 decades of being inside that industry. So I also think about how to use AI inside that space. For those of you that may be executive ministers that are on here, or you may serve in some capacity as a trustee, or you're in the financial department. And then also somewhat of a technological background as well, as I used to run website business for some years, but then just recently, my wife and I, we just built our first app, and so just a little bit just about my background in that sense. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about AI in ministry. And I am so excited to be able to share this with you all. I pray that you are excited. If you're excited, give me some thumbs ups. And if you're not excited, give me a thumb up. All right. But let me tell you why you should be excited. You should be excited because burnout in ministry is real. And burnout, unfortunately, in the scope of ministry and pastoring, as years go by, it's increasingly becoming a thing. But when you think about burnout, burnout is not something that is caused by the things that we love to do. Like there are some things that you love to do inside of ministry that you will do into 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because you love to do those things. Those are the things that fuel you, they give you joy. But it's the things that you have to do in ministry that you don't really want to do. The mundane stuff, the reason why you didn't really start ministry in the first place, right? The stuff that's outside of the people stuff, that's outside of the relational stuff. It's all of those things that tend to burn us out the most. And so this is where AI can come in inside of ministry to help us. And I'm praying that I can help you all, or at least inspire you all in different ways to be able to utilize it. So I want to share my screen because it's hard to talk about something about AI without also seeing something visually. So I created a presentation for this. All right, so I'm going to throw out just this question, a rhetorical question for you to consider right now. Where have you been seeing AI inside of just life in general? right? I got some suggestions up here. You got Google search, you got Siri, you got social media algorithms, you got ChatGPT, graphic design. You got all these different types of tools. What it really boils down to this is that AI is not coming, it's already here, and it's here to stay. What that means is that whether you like it or not, AI is here and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. There was a moment in time where there were some people didn't like, computers when they first came out, but it came and it's here to stay. There's people that didn't like the internet when it came out, but it came and it's here to stay. They didn't like the smartphone when it came out, but it came and it's here to stay. People didn't like social media when it came out. There was actually some church folk that would look at social media and they called it the devil. I actually heard people in the church that said that, and yet social media came and it is here to stay. And yet, more churches would have closed during the pandemic had it not been for social media, just as an idea. So AI is here and it's here to stay. And so the question is not whether or not do I like it. The question is what are you going to do with it? And so for this particular workshop, I have four different objectives that I want to make sure that we're all able to walk away with. One, I want you to understand what AI is and what it's not. I want to address some of the concerns in using AI. I want to establish some guardrails or boundaries in using AI. And then I want you to understand how to practically use AI in everyday ministry. So let's go ahead and let's get straight into it. All right. So first, what is AI? Before I even go further, don't worry about having to feel like you have to write down everything inside on these slides. I will give you access to this presentation and show you how to do that at the end. All right. If anything you write down, it'll be things that I say that's not on the slides, but the slides will be in your possession after this. All right. So what is AI? Artificial intelligence is technology designed to process information, recognize patterns, organize data, generate content, and assist with tasks that normally require human thinking. It's that last part right there, require human thinking. It's the feeling that artificial intelligence is somehow going to replace our human mind, replace the human being in that sense. That's the part that scares us the most. But let me tell you though, with that thought in mind, let me tell you what AI is not. It's not human. It's not spiritual. It's not all knowing. It is not a replacement for the Holy Spirit, wisdom, prayer, or spiritual discernment. As a person who uses over 15 different type of AI tools, I would say probably on a regular basis, I'm here to tell you that AI cannot replace the human mind. If you find me a person that says that AI can replace the human mind, I will find you a person that does not use AI on a regular basis. Because if you used AI on a regular basis, you will know that it takes the human mind, it takes the creativity of the human mind in order to be able to make AI do what it needs to do. It's like this. I can put AI in two people's hands, an AI tool, whatever AI tool, there's a bunch of them out there. But for right now, for simplicity, I can put an AI tool in somebody's hands, in two people's hands, and one person, they will be able to produce, something that's cool, but another person will make AI sing. It would make AI do some great things. And what's the difference between the two results? It's the human mind between it. And so AI can only be as good as the human brain or the human mind that is actually behind it. No different than if I took two people and I put them before a piano. One person playing the piano, they gonna come out sounding like a 2-year-old playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. You put another person before that same piano, and they're going to come out sounding like Beethoven. What's the difference? It's the human mind behind it. All right. So, what AI is, it's simply a tool. It is simply a tool. And like any tool, its value depends on why it is used, what role we allow it to play, and how it is used. I want you to have this image inside your head, for instance. You see that hammer or those tools in the top right hand corner there. If I took a hammer, I can use that hammer to build, or I can use that hammer to destroy. Now, if I use that hammer to destroy, the hammer is not the problem. I am. Humanity has always been the problem, specifically because of sin. Because of our sinful ways, we take God's blessings, we take the tools that God has allowed us to be able to invent and create, and we turn them into something evil. But AI or any tool for that matter, these are inanimate objects. They're amoral for the most part, right? It's really us who are moral beings that choose and how we use that particular tool that ends up deciphering whether or not that thing is going to be evil or whether that thing is going to be good. All right. So AI, it is just simply a tool. It's not the devil. All right. It's the devil in us that ends up and how we use AI that ends up making it or turning it into something that can be evil. Okay. All right, so let's deal with some concerns, some concerns or negatives that we've heard about AI. I know, if you have some concerns, go ahead, feel free, drop that inside the chat. But I'm just going to, just name and put out just a few of them that are on the screen here: replacing people or jobs, inaccurate information, ethical concerns, lack of authenticity, dependence on technology, privacy concerns, fear of losing human connection, fear of AI replacing spiritual discernment. Now, all of these things are very valid concerns. They're very valid concerns, and we should be concerned about these things. We should be having conversations about these concerns. All right, because when we have conversations about these types of concerns, it allows us to be able to think or to practice discernment on how to go about using such a tool as AI. But I want you to lean in on this one. Um, Even though that these concerns are valid, many of them are not new concerns. Anytime that if you just look at history, pick up a history book, if you've been following technology at any point in time, you will find out that many of these concerns, they're not really new concerns. Every time there's a technological advancement, these concerns, they come up to some degree. Now, I must admit that AI feels different because AI is AI, right? So it does feel different. I want to acknowledge that right off the bat. But these concerns, when you really boil them down, they're not really new concerns. You go back to the Industrial Revolution, for instance, right? When you think about the manufacturing industry, when machines were created, steamboats and what have you, that replaced a lot of jobs. But you know what it also did? It created other industries with more jobs that we didn't know that those industries would be created. For those of you that like taking the Amtrak, down to Santa Barbara or San Diego or whatever it may be, none of that would have been invented and the jobs related to that had there not been the Industrial Revolution. And I can continue going on down that road, right? Ethical concerns, right? There's always ethical concerns that comes up when you have a technology that is invented, or privacy concerns. I mean, we had these thoughts when social media was invented. I mean, the reason why cyberbullying exists to begin with is because social media exists. That's an ethical issue. And yet we still have to have those conversations, dialogue around it. And we have to do what? We have to learn how to put some guardrails in place, right? As we talk about concerns, it's not about, all right, because I have these concerns, the tool in and of itself is bad. No, it's about, how do we put in the necessary guardrails? What boundaries should we have around AI and using AI so that we don't utilize it in an evil way? Okay. So I'm going to talk about this just from a ministry standpoint, give you 5 guardrails that we need to have within AI ministry. I mean, if you adopt AI inside of ministry. Number 1, verify important information. Okay. Some of these things are just going to be general, even outside of just ministry, but verify important information. AI, it can be wrong. So if you're using it for research or anything like that, you need to make sure that you are fact checking. There's a way to tell AI, because AI is doing what? It's only pulling from what we humans have created over a scope of time. And so it's pulling from the internet, scholarly articles, all different types of things, but it's also pulling from not even scholarly things. It's pulling from, random stuff. And so you can tell AI, show me your sources, and go to those sources and see whether or not that those sources are indeed scholarly or not. Okay. Number 2, protect confidential information. All right. If you're going to use it inside of a ministry setting, you want to make sure that you're not uploading counseling notes on, Jane Doe and what you have talked to her about, right? You want to make sure that you're not putting sensitive data inside of there about members or anything like that, right? Or anything that you wouldn't want to be public. Number 3, AI should assist, not replace spiritual preparation. Let me say that again for the people in the back. AI should assist, not replace spiritual preparation. AI can organize information, but it cannot replace prayer study or discernment. I think of it this way. This part I want you to write down for those of you that are taking notes. When I am thinking about where AI should be inside of ministry, one gauge for me internally is this. I think about the process and I say, is the process mechanical or is the process formative? Let me say that again. Is the process mechanical or is the process formative? If it's mechanical, that's all the mundane stuff that it doesn't really form us spiritually. There is no spiritual discernment that's necessary. Like, for instance, minutes, me putting together some minutes, that's not formative. Maybe it's formative for you. If so, then they'll use AI for minutes, right? But for me, minutes is simply just mechanical. It does nothing for me spiritually whatsoever. I'm not discerning over the minutes. I'm simply just trying to be able to produce a document of what happened inside the meeting. That is it. It's purely mechanical. So in that sense, I might be able to leverage AI to be able to do that for me. But if it is formative, meaning that the process, it requires maybe a slower process. It requires me to think, for me to pray, for me to sit and wrestle. Like, you think in sermon preparation, for instance, there are parts of sermon preparation that is purely mechanical. But then there are part of sermon preparation where you need to really just be dipped in prayer and just sit and wrestle and do the hard work of sermon preparation. And you cannot abdicate that to AI, right? Because it is a formative process. And if you don't allow the Holy Spirit to form you in that process, you're going to end up getting inside the pulpit and producing something that is very what? Artificial, pun intended. All right. All right. Four. Four, maintain your authentic voice. Maintain your authentic voice. Ministry should still sound like you. It should not be generic or artificial. And there is a way to be able to teach AI how to sound like you. You look at all the stuff that you've written over time, right? That is in your voice. You can train an AI tool. Let's say if you're writing, I don't know, a text message, or you need to send an email to your volunteers or something like that. You can upload inside of it some emails, what have you, to say, this is what I sound like, and help you draft an email. Now, again, it can help you ideate. You take that, and you still have the ability to still, switch, take out stuff however you want to, right? But it gave you a basis where you don't have to like start from scratch, if you will, okay? But you want to maintain your authentic voice. Nobody can be you. God created you, your personality, the way you talk, your energy, the words that you use, your language, the language of your church, right? You want to make sure that you don't lose that in AI or utilizing it. Number 5. Prioritize people over efficiency. Let me say that one again. Prioritize people over efficiency. All right. You want to make sure that AI is not getting into a place where it's replacing relationships, where it's replacing, the dynamic that only ministry, that the kingdom of God can really do. You don't want it to replace that type of stuff. You're trying to utilize it in a way where it takes care of all of the Martha stuff so you can have more time to do the Mary stuff. All right. So you want to prioritize people over efficiency. Let me go ahead and just give you something that's really, really concrete. And so for this slide, I want to give you some examples of what AI may help you with and some things that are like no-nos that you probably shouldn't think about AI helping you in. So AI to the left. AI may help you with organizing information, formatting documents, creating timelines, summarizing data, categorizing survey responses, administrative preparation, repetitive tasks. Again, the mundane stuff that take you away from being with people, the stuff that ends up causing you to burn out, the stuff that you loathe to do, right? AI may be able to help you with those types of things. But then on the right-hand side, this is what AI shouldn't help you with. This should be purely a human and spiritual responsibility, spiritual discernment, prayer, shepherding people, counseling people, hearing from God, building relationships, presence and compassion. All right. Those are the things that AI will never be able to do, nor should it. Even if it could do it, we should never rely on it to do it. All right. There is something about the human mind, the human spirit, the soul that AI just cannot replicate whatsoever. And so, with that being said, when AI is used correctly, it shouldn't replace relationships in ministry, but it should create more room for them. Let me say that again. When AI is used correctly, it should not replace relationships in ministry. It should create more room for them. You should be able to go out and sit with your people more. Why? Because you're not inside of the office somewhere trying to spend hours trying to put something mechanical together. It frees you up from the mechanical stuff so that you can do the relational stuff more. All right. This is why you should be excited. So now let's get to some practical uses inside of ministry. All right. This right here, I'm not getting ready to open up an AI tool and start, utilizing it right now. We can, if somebody wants me to do that inside the question part, by all means, I'll go ahead and I'll do that. But right now, I just want to, when I put this workshop together, I wanted to put it a workshop together for the assumption was there are beginners here, people who never use AI whatsoever, or you might even have some negative feelings about AI. So right now, as we're getting ready to get into this segment, I just want to inspire you on ways in which you might be able to utilize it. Okay, I want to get that brain thinking. All right. By the way, the things I'm getting ready to show you, it takes the human mind in order to even think to use AI in this way. Again, AI cannot replace the human mind. You are only as creative with AI as the human mind is creative. Okay. All right, here we go. Think about church announcements. All right. How much time do you spend or does your staff spend in writing some church announcements? I'll give you an example. For us at Zion Hill, we have to write an announcement script because we have a video announcements that we show inside of church service, and so we have a voiceover over those video announcements. So we have to write a script, or we have to take our announcements and we have to write it in script form so that our media team can go ahead and place that over our video announcements. So prior to utilizing AI, it would take us forever to be able to do that. All right, to be able to really just, all right, what should we say? How should we phrase it? All those things. Now we can just say, hey, AI, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. These are the announcements that we need to put in there. Can you put this inside of a script form? We want it to be playful in this portion. We want it to be warm and friendly in this portion. And we hit enter, let it give it to us in a matter of a minute or so. And then we shift what we don't like, what we do like. We change this. So again, it's still our human mind still in play, but we're not starting from scratch to be able to do something that in this case for me is mechanical. Writing church announcements for me, that's not formative for me. It's not something that I'm trying to discern necessarily. It's not deep discernment. It's not deep prayer. If it's for you, don't use AI for that. For me, it's mechanical. Okay. How about sermon illustration repository? This is one of my favorites. All right. So if you have been a preacher or a pastor for any length of time, what the Holy Spirit will begin to do is that he will begin to show you sermon illustrations as you're just, and it can be random, just walking in life. I remember driving down the street one day and this bird came and just snatched a branch up and it went on to go, make its nest. And immediately the Holy Spirit was just like, God can use broken branches. All right. Now I'm thinking about, the Apostle Paul, and, he's on the ship and it's been shipwrecked and he's floating on broken pieces. God can use broken pieces. You see what I'm saying? So like you just start getting these sermon illustrations. But in that moment, you're like, oh, my Lord, I got revelation. The Holy Spirit just showed me something inside of nature. So you pull out your spiritual notebook if you have it with you, right? Or you grab a napkin, a piece of paper, whatever it may be, and you write it on a piece of napkin or piece of paper, or you pull out your phone and you record it because you're trying to save it. But here's the issue. That's not what you're preaching on Sunday. You preaching on something completely different, and this particular illustration does not fit it. So what do? If you like me, maybe y'all much better than me, but if you like me, I'll take that piece of paper and I shove it in some type of my notebook or somewhere. I put it on a shelf, and guess what? It's forgotten. Because the week after that, I'm also not preaching about that particular illustration or that illustration, or where a sermon where that illustration can actually live. So I completely forget about it. But what if there was a tool like AI where you could say, hey, AI, today God dropped this particular illustration inside my spirit. I want to give you the illustration, and then I want you to remember this illustration when it's time for me for sermon prep. So then now when it's time for sermon prep, now I can go back to AI and say, hey, I want you, right now I'm writing a sermon on this, and I'm working on this particular point. Are there any illustrations that I have given to you over the course of time that can fit this particular illustration or this particular point? Now, all of the revelation that God has given to you doesn't get lost on a bookshelf somewhere. It doesn't get lost inside of a drawer somewhere. Now, all of the revelation that the Holy Spirit has dropped inside of you can now be accessed. What about sermon series preparation? All right. For at Zion Hill, one of the things that I do when I am not preaching through a book is I preach thematic series. So it's on a particular thing. And sometimes I derive those things by sending out a questionnaire to the church. And I ask them two questions. Basically, what challenges are you wrestling with? Whether it be in your everyday life, whether it be in scripture, faith, what questions do you have about God? And then the second question is the exact same as the first question, except I'm not asking about them. I'm asking about their neighbors or their friends that they may potentially also invite to church one day or invite to a small group of some sort. And so I take that. This is the way I did it before I started using AI. What I would do is I would take all of the answers, and it would take me about 2 to 3 days or up to a week for me to go before a whiteboard, and I would write down all the answers, but I would have to try to categorize them under a theme. And then I would have to rank those themes from greatest to least to see what the need is, the greatest need may be inside of the church. Because for me, I'm trying to meet this, when I do a thematic series, I'm trying to exegete my community at the same time. So I'm trying to figure out how can I meet the sheep that God has blessed me and give me the privilege to serve. How can I meet them exactly where they're at? So I'm trying to figure out what is the greatest need. So that was a time for me to be able to just do some data analysis. Again, for me, that's not formative. I'm not really spiritually discerning right now. I am purely doing data analysis. Again, if for you that's formative, don't use AI for it. For me, that is mechanical because I haven't started really praying yet. I'm just trying to just see what the people answered and just trying to organize it right now. Then after that, I am now trying to figure out which series should I preach, which series I'm trying to lay that before the Lord and pray about it and see how I might be able to develop particular things. So now what I do with AI, I just upload that inside of AI and say, hey, I want you to take all of the answers that were given to me from this farm. I uploaded inside of AI and said, I want you to go ahead and organize it for me. Now, instead of it taking me 2 to 3 days or up to a week in order to do that work, now it takes me minutes to do that work. Now I have more time for prayer. Now I have more time to spend before the Lord. Now I have more time to be able to really seek his face and see what is it exactly that my people need, and less time doing data analysis. All right, what about some sermon-based small group discussion, guys? Just imagine, I'm going to run through some of these. Ask me more questions after this if you like, but imagine you being able to take your sermon manuscript or take your YouTube URL in which your sermon is on, upload that inside of AI and say, hey, make me a small group discussion guide for our small groups because this is a sermon-based small group. You've done the work to put the sermon together. Right now, again, if writing that small group discussion guide, if it is formative for you, then don't use it. But if it's mechanical for you, then this might be something for you to be able to use. All right, grant writing. That's another thing, right? We're trying to figure out sometimes how to be able to write grants. You can leverage AI to be able to help you write a grant. Right? There are ways to be able to do it. Now you're going to have, it's somewhat of a learning curve, but once you learn how to be able to do it, you'll be able to bypass, trying to figure out, is there anybody in the church that can write a grant or paying somebody that writes a grant? But every time you pay the person, that don't mean that you're going to actually get the grant, right? So now you didn't pay somebody to write a grant, but you don't have any type of fruit from it. So you can use it for grant writing. Policies and procedures. Let's say you're establishing a new ministry, or you're trying to figure out, something at the church. Like, let's say, for us at Zion Hill, we're trying. We started to rent out our facility for certain things. So now we need to come up with a facility rental policy and procedure. Well, where do I even start with that? Right? Yes, there's some resources and I can copy and paste, but I'm trying to also figure out, where do I get those resources? Maybe I don't have access to those resources. Where do I start looking? Well, what if I just went to AI and say, hey, we're trying to rent out our facility. Can you please help us to start drafting a policy procedure manual? And these are the types of specifics in which we care about. Make sure that this is a part of it. And also, can you also ask us some questions, or can you give us some things that we need to be thinking about as a church before we start renting out our facility? Hit enter, boom. Now it's not hours and hours and meetings after meetings after meetings trying to draft a rental policy. Now you didn't drafted a rough draft of it in a minute or two, and now you have something to actually concretely to take to the meeting to actually pray about, discern, work through, change this, change that. Agendas, meeting minutes. All right. I don't even have to say any more about that. All right. Financial analysis. All right. What if you're a pastor, you don't really understand finances, but you should. That's not something that you should just abdicate to your executive minister. That's not something that you should just abdicate just to the trustee, the trustee ministry. You still, as a pastor, if you are the lead pastor, you still need to understand to a certain degree finances of the church. But let's say you're not a financial guy. You're not a financial woman. If that's not you, if you don't understand it, there's a way to be able to say, hey, you know what? What is it on this balance sheet that I need to be thinking about? Or what is it on this P&L that I need to possibly be wrapping my mind around? Or what questions should I be asking as a pastor, as a lead pastor in this moment, right? Because I have no financial acumen whatsoever. I need you to break this down to me as if I was a fifth grader. Give me charts. Organizational document repository. What if you uploaded everything inside of your church? Not that I would say I would recommend this, but let's say but this is just an idea on how even some businesses are utilizing it even today, where they've uploaded all of their documents inside of a folder and said, hey, I look inside this folder. We're inside of a meeting right now, and we're trying to figure out, did we ever discuss this inside of a business meeting? Did we ever make a decision about this? When did we talk about this? Is there anything in any of our documents that have anything about this particular thing? Go ahead and search our 1,000 documents right now to see whether or not we talked about it. Creating a flyer. I don't have to say any more about that, but today, if you don't have the money to be able to pay a graphic artist or anything like that, you can create a beautiful flyer just simply by using AI if you don't have the means to be able to do that. All right. Social media captions. I don't need to say anymore. You're trying to use social media and you're trying to figure out captions. You can help it to write your captions. And then even PowerPoint presentations like this one. All right. If that person looks like me, it's because it is me. All right. So even in this PowerPoint presentation, I wanted to be able to create a PowerPoint presentation that was visually appealing so that I can take something that can feel so complex and so far from people and put it visually in front of them so they can see, so that they can digest it in a good way. And so if you look at some of these drawings here, I'm not a drawer. I can't do this. So this would take me months to be able to do, or weeks to be able to do if I found somebody to be able to do this for me, or it would be just nearly impossible for me to be able to create something like this. But with the help of AI, I was able to create this PowerPoint presentation. All right. So getting started, where do I get started? I want you to start with one task. I know I've given you a lot. I want you to start with one task, something simple. Rewrite an email, rewrite a text message, rewrite something that you want to send out to your volunteer team. Just start with one task. All right. It doesn't need to be big. It doesn't need to be grand. Just start with one task. Experiment, but stay thoughtful, stay prayerful. All right. If you want to download this particular PowerPoint slides, if you want to get access to it, if you want to download a guide, I did create a guide for you all on how to specifically start with ChatGPT. For those of you that just not you have not used it or utilized it at all, I did create a guide for you, step by step for a beginner. Or if you want to schedule a call with me as one of your regional resource ministers of ABCOFLASH, if you want to schedule a call, please go ahead and text AI to that number right there. A form will automatically be sent to you. Fill out that form, and you can also download the guide and the PowerPoint right there on at the top of that form. All right. I'm going to allow you to go ahead, take a picture right now if you want to, before I move on. I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right. All right. Helpful tools for ministry. You got ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Notebook, LM, Canva, Copilot. I won't dive into those right now, what they are, but you can see on the screen again. You have access to the PowerPoint because I want to get into the questions if there may be any questions. But these are just different tools. There are more tools than this that exist, but these are just different tools. And I put a little description on what you might be able to utilize the tools for in that regard. All right. Questions.
I have a question.
All right. Yep.
Can AI help with me and my website?
Yes. So today with AI, you actually have the ability with different tools. You can create a wonderful, beautiful website in minutes. So with, for instance, if you wanted to figure out how to be able to create a particular website, what you would utilize it for is that you could easily go to AI and say, hey, I'm trying to build it in this particular AI tool. All right, AI tool here. I'm trying not to get too technical,
Yes.
all right, because I don't want to confuse anybody. But you could say, hey, give me a prompt, give me something that I can write out and put inside of this AI tool to build me a website. Ask me questions, interview me so that I can tell you the type of website that I want, what I need, what I want the design to look like, what the branding should be. If you care about that, what colors, that if you have church colors or anything like that, interview me and just answer those questions. It'll give you a prompt. You copy that and you put it inside of that particular place. You hit enter and you'll have a website in minutes.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
And can I ask one more thing? Back to that financial part,
Yep.
looking at the PLs and whatever, those different things. So can AI help me just understand what I'm looking at and how to use it better?
1,000%.
Okay.
Businesses, about Fortune 500, Fortune 500 companies are utilizing stuff like this all the time, right? So to help to be able to understand, they can put it in nice charts, nice little charts to help you see this is where money is going. This is where this is some things that you might need to be thinking about, especially if you are not a person that has a financial degree or you understand a bunch of financials. So definitely that is a way for you to be able to utilize it.
Thank you so much.
I have a question
Mhm.
about privacy. So let's say I wanted to understand my budget and I upload my church budget to the wherever the AI.
Yep.
Now my church budget is public, right?
So not necessarily. So there are tools that have privacy settings in it. So inside now every tool they have it in different places, but I'll take ChatGPT for instance. There is a place inside the settings where you can actually turn off. I do not want you to make this enrich AI by utilizing the stuff or the content in which I put into it.
Okay.
So that's kind of like what takes it away from being a public thing. So as we continue to have these conversations about privacy concerns, that was one of the number one things about that. And so now with regulations, it is now forcing companies who do have AI to make sure that they're putting in privacy type of measures. So
okay,
you just got to
thanks.
make sure. Yep. Yeah, you're welcome. Yep.
Brandon, Walter
Mhm.
Clark here. How would we go about creating an organizational chart for ABCOFLASH, which would visually identify the structure, what ABCOFLASH is, the board of directors, the staff, the affiliated churches, in a visual presentation so that we can look in one place and say, aha, here are relationships we have within this region, and actually be able to identify them and not just assume that they're some organizations that uh, are part of our structure.
Yep. Yep. So in that, all you would have to do is, this is a great question. So all you would have to do is just tell AI all of the different relationships, right? So it starts here, then it branches out here, or this, like just tell AI what all the relationships are, upload that. If you already have something that's like that that exists that tell you how all of the relationship, let's say if it's a bylaws that will spell out the relationships between different committees or different people. You could just upload that and say, create me an organizational chart off of this. Hit enter, boom, you'll have one in a minute or two. And then you look at it and you say, that's wrong, that's right, that's wrong. And you just go and you speak back to it and just simply say, hey, change this, change that. The relationship actually is tied to this. Hit enter and it'll go ahead and fix it for you. And again, that's something that fill out the form. And if that's something with all of these questions, if you need me to, if you want to be able to schedule a call where I can help you to really pull up some stuff and to be able to show you how to be able to do that, that's what I'm here for as one of your regional resource ministers.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yep.
Hopefully you can leave that number with Doug, because I'm on my smartphone. I can't take notes
Okay.
about contacting
Yep.
you.
Yep. No worries. No
Yeah.
worries.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
This is Venus. Good morning. And Brenda, I just want to say how much I enjoyed your presentation on AI in ministry. And I appreciate the fact that you emphasize the fact that AI does not replace the human mind, and that it is only as good as the human mind. And the way you kept saying, posing the question, is the process mechanical or formative, particularly for ministry, and the emphasis that it doesn't replace prayer, it doesn't replace study, or discernment, nor the Holy Spirit. I've used Chat GPT, and I wanted to ask you, do you have a paid subscription to Chat GPT, or do you use the free model?
So I have a paid version. I
Okay.
have a paid. I don't like limit. I don't like the limits. And there are more things that you can do on the paid version with ChatGPT that you cannot do on the free version. And even with my staff even with my staff at my church, right? They for instance, my church secretary, she has a paid version. And in that particular version, we're able to actually share folders with each other. So as she is ideating on particular things, I can be anywhere and I can ideate with her. Because I'm teaching her how to be able to utilize certain things so that she can know how to do how to be able to process things in a much quicker fashion, where she doesn't have to spend so much time doing mechanical things that some church secretaries have to do. I want her to be able to spend more time dealing with people, answering maybe calls or something like that, or loving on people, or helping us to figure out more things that I may need to help that I need help in maybe putting a vision on paper or something like that. I want her to spend more time doing formative stuff and not mechanical stuff.
Okay. So for your presentation, you used a Chat GPT for the PowerPoint, PowerPoints that you use?
No, I use Manus. So that's Metis, or what used to be called Facebook. So
Okay.
Manus is Facebook's or Meta's version of their AI.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. But thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yep. You're most welcome. Any other questions?
Is there a way you could do a quick demonstration of something so we kind of
Sure,
see it in action?
I sure can.
Do a
Let me share my.
Juneteenth flyer.
So I'm gonna do a Juneteenth flyer really quick. Let's see. Let me share my screen. Share and all right, share. All right, so here we go. I am in ChatGPT. This is chatgpt.com, as you can see up here. And in a few things, you don't feel like you have to be perfect, but you can also, for those of you that are not great at typing, you see this this button right here, this mic right here. You can go ahead and hit that, and you can just speak to it like you're having a regular conversation. And then you go ahead, you hit that check mark, and you hit enter, and it will go in there just like that. Okay, so but for right now, I don't know if it's going to allow me to do it because my mic is being used by my earphones right now. So let's go ahead. Create for me a Juneteenth flyer for Black Church Ministries, which is a ministry of ABCOFLASH. All right. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's all right. All right. There we go. It is say June 19th. I don't think it's on June. Is it on June 19th or is it on a different day? Let's just say June 19th. And let's throw a random.
I'm doing it
random
on
there.
the
All right.
20th.
All right, so let's say June 20th at 2 p.m. Let's say 2 p.m. All right. And let's say ask me any questions that you need in order to create it. And create image. All right, so here it's going to ask you a bunch of questions that you may want to consider. I've created things in the past, let's say for ABCOFLASH, so it already has the brand colors that are in there. So it's bringing up ABCOFLASH brand colors. So I'm going to tell it. Let me see if it's going to allow me to. Not sticking. All right, so I want you to use, let's say, Pan African colors. Let's say I want the flyer to be, say, modern / community. All right. And I want it to be portrait. Okay. So, because you could choose, do I want an Instagram square to post on Instagram, story, flyer, Facebook, what have you. So let's just go ahead. Let's just start with this. I just create from what I told you and just say, all right. Let's see what it does.
While it's coming up, what about copyright issues? If it uses an image, are you
Yep.
responsible for?
No, not necessarily. Not that is something I will say this. When it comes to the whole copyright thing, that is something that is continuing to be in motion, right? I think it's not necessarily images that are the issue, because you're ideating from your words in that regard. So these images are not necessarily being, oh, hey, here we go. Boom. Do y'all
Wow.
see?
Yeah.
Y'all see it?
Yep.
Black Church Ministries, a ministry of ABCOFLASH, Juneteenth, freedom, faith, future, boom. Just like that, you're done. You go ahead And if you don't like something, you can go ahead and just put in here, I don't like this, change this. And it can completely, it can change it. For instance, let's say, and I love the woman piece that they put in here. But let's say for whatever reason, I said, hey, can you also add a male on the flyer just like the woman? And anybody feel free to ask me whatever other questions. But going back to the whole copyright thing, those are things that are still being processed out in many different ways. I think where people run into copyright issues a lot is when you have written material. That's where you need to be extremely careful, because when you are doing anything that is written and you are actually publicizing that written material, that is where the AI is drawing from. It's drawing from things that have already been written. So you need to be very careful when it comes to that. I think when it comes to photos and stuff, this actually with ChatGPT, it's actually fairly new. By new, I'm saying like last month, it had the ability to be able to do something like this. Pictures are not new in general, but some of these issues are still being ironed out within AI altogether, because AI, we didn't have it like this 2 years ago. It just didn't exist. None of this existed. So a lot of these things are still being worked out. But as you can see, the great question. As you can see, all I told it, I said, hey, put me a male. So what did it do? It kept everything the same. It took the fists out and put a male.
It's great. Thank you.
Yep. Now, to be able to pay somebody to do something like this, this would cost you hundreds of dollars. But instead of it costing you $100, guess what? It costs you $20 a month.
Mhm.
Just like
Okay,
that.
so can you do this on the free account?
So you might be able to do this on a free account. The problem with doing it on a free account is that you will max out. You will max out of what is it called? I'm losing the word right now. Credits. You'll max out on credits very quickly on a free account to be able to do this, because all of these things, depending on what you do, when you create images, when you create slides, how much you speak to it, all of those things, every time you utilize it, you're using credits. So you can run through your credits very quickly if it's on a free account. So you might be able to do it, but just know that you may not be able to. You're going to run out very quickly. So you're not going to be able to make as many changes, or you're not going to be able to utilize it a lot through that month.
Okay. And you said the paid account is $20 a month?
$20 a month.
Okay.
We pay for that. I mean, you think about that in the scope of ministry, individually, we pay more than that eating out in a day.
Yes, that's true breakfast.
That's a drop in the bucket. That's a drop in the bucket. Yep.
Can a subscription be shared? Is it only Brandon's, or do your church people have access to it?
So I pay. So I pay for my own, but the church pays for my church secretary. So she has a completely different account, because I don't just utilize mine just for church, for instance. Right. So for me, I don't want everybody to get it, because see, when the thing about it is that if you just utilize it, if you have it open, what you have to be careful of is that other people now you're inviting inside of your space. So if you're going to utilize it just for church, then yes, share it. But if you're utilizing that account for more than just church, and you don't want other people getting access to that, it can become a privacy situation. Or let's say if you are utilizing yours as, let's say, you're senior in leadership, and you have access to knowledge that not everybody else is supposed to have access to inside your staff, right? Let's say you have access to certain financial knowledge or certain things about whatever it may be that not other people inside of your staff ought to have access to. There is, at least that I know of, there is no way to, if you give them, you can, of course, share them the login, but they're also going to be able to get access to the same stuff that you are perusing or the things that you are thinking through or ideating through over these things. They're going to get access to that too. So you got to be careful.
Pastor Bouldin,
Yep.
if I wanted to get the paid subscription of Chat GTP, should I get it on my laptop or my phone? And how does that work between the two?
So all you need is one, and you can have it on your phone. And when you have one, all you need to do is download the app, log in on your phone, log in on your laptop, log in on your iPad, and it's the same exact account, and you can utilize it wherever. So you don't need multiple ones. All you got to do is go to chatgpt.com. You can do that on your phone, or you can do that on your iPad, or you can do that on your laptop, whatever you like, whatever's most convenient for you in this moment. And you just go ahead, log in, go ahead, you purchase it. Make sure you download the app on all three. If you have all three, put in your credentials and you're good.
Okay, thank you.